let's talk about something that often gets misunderstood in the natural hair community. Protective styles. Now, I know when some people hear the word protective style, they immediately think, oh, you mean tucking my hair away in braids or a wig because it's too hard to manage? No. That's not what we mean when we say protective styling. But let me just clear that up right now, because protective styling is not about hiding your hair. It's all about preserving it. Because textured hair, whether it's kinky, coily, curly, or a mix of all three, is absolutely beautiful. But it's also vulnerable. It tangles easily, it loses moisture quickly, and if you're not intentional about how you care for it, it breaks. And that's where protective styles come in. And the real purpose of protective styling is to minimize manipulation, because overhandling leads to breakage. It also protects the ends, which are the oldest and most vulnerable parts of your hair, and also it helps to retain moisture so your hair strands stay hydrated for longer periods of time. Because here's the truth, your hair is growing, but if you're not keeping that length, it can feel like you're stuck at the same point year after year. So protective styles are a bridge between your current length and your actual length goals. But here's the thing nobody talks about enough. Protective styling isn't a one-size-fits-all, and the way you use it should change with the seasons. So in this video, we're going to break it all the way down, okay? So I'm gonna be walking you through exactly why protective styles are so effective in both the winter months and the summer months, and how you can use them strategically, not just to keep your hair looking cute, but to actually see results. So let's get into it. Okay, let me ask you this real quick. If protective styles are so good, why is your hair still breaking? So we praise twist outs and braid outs like they're rituals, but if you're skipping protective styling during summer and winter, you're playing yourself. Now, this isn't about hiding your hair. It's all about whether you're willing to protect what you say you want to grow. And I can already hear it. But Kiesha, I want to wear my hair out sometimes. Girl, so do I. But ask yourself, is it worth the breakage? Is it worth the setback? Because in this video, we're pulling the curtains back, okay? Protective styles aren't punishment, they're prevention. And if you use them right, they'll preserve more inches than your oil ever will. So let's talk strategy, because your next season of growth depends on it. Okay, so let's stop sugarcoating it. Manipulation is the #1 silent killer of hair retention. So before we glamorize buns and twists, let's talk about what they actually do. So first things first, what exactly is a protective style? So a protective style is any hairstyle that helps shield the ends of your hair, minimize daily manipulation, and preserve moisture. Now, these styles work by reducing how often you touch, comb, or style your hair, which in turn helps prevent breakage and supports length retention. Now, protective styles can include anything from braids, twists, cane rolls, wigs, and weaves to simple buns or tuck away styles. Now, the goal isn't just to put your hair away, it's to protect the most fragile parts of your hair, especially during extreme weather conditions. And speaking of weather, let's talk about how the seasons, starting with winter, how that impacts your hair and why protective styles are especially important during the colder months. So why are protective styles good in the winter? Well, as we know, winter is your hair's worst enemy, dressed in a cashmere coat, sweetie, because that dry air outside and the artificial heat inside, they're actually tag teaming your hair strands every day. And if your ends are out here naked in December, just know that moisture is running from your hair faster than you can apply leave-in, okay? All right, so by now we should all know that the winter months come with their own set of problems, from the dry cold air outside and the dry heated air inside, which both can be brutal on our hair strands that's already naturally fragile and prone to moisture loss. Because as we know, during winter the environment is aggressively pulling moisture away from your hair, and it's able to do this because the cold dry air causes your cuticles to lift, allowing moisture to escape. And that's the same thing that's happening with the indoor heating. And this then further causes the hair to become brittle, which is typically followed by breakage. So considering that the purpose of protective style isn't just to look cute or give you a break from daily styling, but it's to help the hair retain moisture, especially during the dry, harsh winter season. Now, I've spoken about the best moisturizing methods to use during the colder months in my previous video, so definitely check that out if you haven't already by clicking the cards above, because knowing whether to use the LOC or the LCO method before you install your winter protective style is actually important. Nonetheless, the key benefit of wearing a protective style in winter is that it helps trap that moisture in, preventing it from evaporating too quickly. Because let's be honest, when your hair is left out, all those individual hair strands are exposed to the elements, and there's nothing shielding them from the dry air, friction from your clothes, or the damage caused by constant styling. So when you wear your hair in a style like braids, twist, or a bun, what you're doing is grouping these strands together in a way that reduces the surface area, which keeps moisture locked in and limits environmental exposure. So think of it like a rope. You know, when you twist your hair strands together tightly, it becomes harder for water to escape, and that's what a good protective style does. It actually holds the moisture in, protects the cuticle, and creates a kind of moisture vault inside the hair. Sorry. Plus, when you've prepped your hair properly beforehand with the right methods and products like our hair regrow oils and butters, protective styles help extend the lifespan of that moisture. So that means you won't have to constantly reapply product every other day just to keep your hair soft, because the style helps it stay moisturized. And that's why winter is the season to be intentional about prep before styling. Now let's flip the script, because you'd think that summer is a hair friendly season, right? Wrong. Now the reason for that is because the sun is literally frying your hair strands, and humidity, now that's a silent saboteur, okay? Because although it may feel like moisture, it's giving moisture overload and hygral fatigue if your hair is unprotected. Now I know that's a lot, but let me explain, all right? Okay, so the sun is not your hair's best friend, because the UV rays can dry out your hair, fade your color, and even weaken your hair over time, causing overall damage. Not to mention how the constant exposure can make your hair feel rough and brittle even if you've moisturized. And then there's humidity. So while humidity does offer moisture in the air, it can also cause frizz, swelling, and even hygral fatigue, otherwise known as moisture overload. Now, I know you're scratching your head like, how? Well, let me make it plain. So humidity can potentially lead to hygral fatigue because your hair is swelling and shrinking like a sponge. And just like a sponge, too much of that and it'll tear apart from the inside out. So hygral fatigue, also known as moisture overload, as I've spoken about many other times, is caused by the constant swelling and shrinking of the hair shaft. So if your hair strands are constantly absorbing and releasing moisture from the humid air around you, they become overworked, stressed, and weak. So if you really think about it, moisture overload doesn't occur only from frequent wash days or frequent use of water-based products. Sometimes it can be caused by the atmosphere wrecking your hair strands and you don't even realize it, because once again, it's just the fact that the hair is absorbing water. It doesn't matter it's from your wash day, a product that you're using, or the atmosphere. And this is where protective styling becomes your saving grace once again, because by grouping your hair strands together, you create a kind of barrier that shields your hair from the direct UV ray exposure and reduce frizz caused by humidity. And also, when you wear protective styles, your hair strands are protected from hygral fatigue or moisture overload, as it's less exposed, so there's less expansion and swelling and less risk of your styles puffing up or feeling unmanageable. And just like in winter, protective styles in summer help with moisture retention, because when your hair is compact, it reduces the rate at which moisture evaporates. And when you combine that with sealing products like our Here We Grow butters or oils, it creates a system that helps keep hydration locked in even when the sun's out. So again, it's not just about tucking your hair away. It's about creating a protective micro environment for your hair strands to thrive. So if you really think about it, protective styling isn't a trend. It's a weapon. It's a strategy, and when it's done right, it does more for your hair growth than you can imagine. So you're not just tucking your hair away, you're actually shielding it and you're preparing it to thrive. So let me bring it home for you real quick. Protective styles aren't punishment. They are a power move. Trust me. They're not about hiding your hair, but more so about preserving it, positioning it to grow and to thrive, protecting it from everything that is working against it. So when you wear styles like braids, twist, or cane rolls, what you're really doing is creating a rope-like shield, a structure that limits how much air and friction your hair strands are exposed to. You are also helping your hair retain moisture longer and drastically reducing the need for constant touching, styling, and detangling. And let's be honest, manipulation is the silent killer of progress. So if you keep touching your hair, it's the faster you'll lose progress, because every time you comb, brush, or style your hair unnecessarily, okay, you risk snapping those fragile ends. So protective styling cuts the risk all the way down, and that's what lets you retain the inches you're already been growing. It's like you're building a barrier, one that blocks out dry winter air, humid summer heat, rough pillowcases, wool scarves, what the heck? Scarves, and yes, even your own hands. But here's the key most people miss. Your protective style should change with the season. Yes, in the summer, think small sections, as they allow your scalp to breathe and prevent heat from getting trapped. And in the winter, you want to use larger sections, because this helps insulate your hair strands and reduce the amount of exposed hair that's vulnerable to breakage. So it's not just about styling, it's about strategy. And when you know better, you should style better. So now you know protective styles aren't just cute, they're tactical, powerful, and season specific. But we are not stopping here, because in the next video I'm going to walk you through some low manipulation protective styles that serve your aesthetics and your hair health all year round. So expect to see styles that look good, feel good, and protect your hair at the same time. But before you go, tell me in the comments what's your go-to protective style and what season do you love wearing it in the most, because I might just feature yours in the next video. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap that bell, because your hair deserves more than guesswork, sweetie. And over here, we give you the truth, rooted and raw.